Well, I'm standing in front of part of a local college here because I had a story about a college campus minister who taught for a little while on spiritual warfare in his college class, and some interesting results from that. Actually, I had a booth at the Tulsa Workshop one year in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I had a poster at the back that was being picked up by another church in another city. He was coming to that seminar, and he said, bring that to me there and we'll post them around town advertising my spiritual warfare seminar. He saw the poster and he immediately backed up and walked into my booth and walked up to me and said, I'm supposed to tell you a story. And so, I said, well, come sit down. There were some chairs in the back, and we sat down, and I'd taught a class there, so I figured it was someone who had heard my class and said, hey, you need to go tell this guy your story. But that wasn't it. I said, as we sat down, I said, who told you to tell me this? He said, God. Well, now he had my attention. And I said, oh, well, when did he tell you to tell me this? He said, on Monday. I didn't come to town till Wednesday. I said, how do you know I was the guy you're supposed to tell this to? He said, well, when I walked by and saw the sign, God said, this is the guy, tell it to him. Now he really had my attention. He said, I went to college on a football scholarship at a D1 major university, but I blew out my knee my freshman year, and I never played a whole lot. But I was converted to Christ by a campus minister. And so I decided to become a campus minister, and I used to be in New Mexico, but now I'm in Oklahoma. And he said, a few months ago, when I was still in New Mexico, I taught a 6 weeks class on Wednesday night, 6 weeks, 6 lessons on spiritual warfare. And at the end of the lessons, one of the young couples from church who decided to sit in on the class because of the topic I was teaching stayed after class, this young couple. And I said, can I help y'all? And they said, well, we have demons in our house. Can you come over and help us? He said, I'll be over there tomorrow at 5. So he comes over the next day at 5, and the couple meets him at the door and brings him into the home. And he said they started to show him through the home, and they got to a large, family room in the back of the house. He said, as soon as I saw that room, God showed me what was going on in that house. And I turned to them and said, you've got 5 demons in this house. And they said, that's right. How did you know that? Well, God told me. And they said, how do we get rid of them? He said, well, first of all, one of them is really small. The other 4 are big, but the small one is the bad one. He's the one in charge. They said, that's exactly right. How do we get rid of him? And he said, well, you need to stop having sexual orgies with other couples in this room. They looked at him in stunned amazement and said, we've never told anyone we did that. How did you know? God showed me. He said they were baptized and they stopped doing that, and the problem went away. The next week in class, after it was over, one of the young college girls stayed behind and said, hey, my mom wanted me to ask you to come over and help us. We've got a demon at our house. Okay, I'll be over tomorrow at 5. So the next day he gets there at 5, and the mother and daughter meet him at the door, and they bring him into the home, and they were showing him around the home. And as they got to the daughter's room, he said to me that God showed me the flight path of the demon. And I said, well, what? What's that? What do you mean? What's a flight path of a demon? He said, well, I told him every time the demon comes, he comes in that door, hops over that, goes across here, and sits up on that shelf right there. And they said, that's exactly right. How did you know that? Well, God showed me. So the mother said, well, how do we get rid of it? And he said, well, your daughter needs to stop having sex with her cousin in this bed right here. And the mother said, my daughter would never do that. And the daughter said, Mom, I'm so sorry. Now, I know those are 2 pretty fantastic stories, but the Bible's full of supernatural stories, and the enemy is real. And we need to start talking about this stuff because the enemy's had a heyday because we've avoided talking about it. So keep praying, stay faithful, turn back to God, and leave sexual immorality behind, because sexual immorality is one of the ways Satan and his demons get a foothold that becomes a stronghold in our lives. Keep praying, because prayer works. God loves you, and I love you.